Hello, welcome to this stretch routine. This will target your lower back muscles. It would strengthen and stretch them out and also rehabilitate them in case you have a lower back injury. And we're also going to be stretching out our inner thighs and also our hip flexors in case your hip flexors are tight when you're performing exercises. So basically, let's begin. Lie down with your back on the mat. Make sure that your back is flat on the mat, okay? I don't want to see any space. Make sure that it's flat on the mat, okay? And then bring your feet in and then lift one knee and hug it to your chest. Just hug it for about 2 seconds or about 5 seconds and then drop. And then repeat on the other leg. Hug the knee to your chest, hold for a few seconds and then drop. And now I want you to hug both knees to your chest. Hug it to your chest as tight as you can, hold for a few seconds and then release. Then you're going to do that again. Hug. One last time, hug, hug, hug. Hold for a few seconds and then release. So now you're going to grab again, but this time I want you to rock from side to side. You grab both knees to your chest and then you rotate, just a slight rotation. Use your arms to kind of wedge that rotation so it doesn't go over, okay? So grab your knee and then you can open up your arms, then just rock side to side. Your arms will provide the wedge, okay, when you get to the end, basically. So just rock slightly from side to side and then stop. So now we're going to go into a double knee rotation stretch. You're going to get the full range of motion, okay? All right, so just rotate from side to side, from left to right. When you rotate to any direction, hold for a few seconds before coming back to the starting position, and then you rotate to the opposite direction. When you're doing this, please make sure that your back is flat on the floor. If you need to readjust every time you come back to the starting position, please do so, but make sure that your back is flat on the floor, on the mat, as you do this rotation, okay? All right. So now we're going to do single knee to chest, but this time around, we're going to stretch the opposite leg forward. So just hug that knee into your chest for a few seconds, stretch that one all the way out, and just hold that for a few seconds. Then we're going to move on to a complete rotation, single knee rotation, okay? We're going to progress to a rotation. So just grab that knee and take it to the opposite direction. Your knee is in the opposite direction and your face in the opposite direction. Make sure that your upper back stays flat on the floor. Now we're going to switch to the other leg and just repeat the same motion. So you're going to hug that single knee to your chest, hold that for a few seconds, and then we're going to progress into a full-blown single knee rotation. So grab that knee and then rotate to the opposite direction while your face is in the opposite direction. My gosh. Make sure that your upper back stays flat on the floor. You're only rotating from your hips, basically. So just hold that for a few seconds and then we're going to repeat this movement, but this time around we're going to stretch out our arms this time around, okay, so that we can be sure that our upper back is on the floor. Stretch out your arms, you're facing the same direction as your stretched out arm, okay? Hold that rotation for a few seconds and then switch to the other leg, basically. You can hug your knee in between that movement. That would benefit your lower back as well. So do that full rotation, stretch out your arms, look in the direction of your stretched out arm. Hold that for a few seconds and then come back up and hold your knee for a few seconds. For the next movement, I want you to place your feet flat on the floor, raise one leg up, then place the ankle of that leg on the opposing knee, lift the leg off the floor, and then reach up and grab the hamstrings of that leg that is lifted and just pull, pull, pull. pull. When you reach up, make sure you go back down, okay, all the way flat down, and then pull, hold for a few seconds. Now we're going to switch to the other side. Just repeat the same thing I said on the other side. Reach up, grab, and then lower back down. That's lower your upper back down, okay, and then pull. You're stretching out the leg that has the ankle that is resting on the knee. I don't know. That sounds very confusing, but basically while you're doing the movement, you understand, it makes sense to you. So we're done with that. Now we're going to come up into a seated forward fold, okay, but before we do the fold, we're going to do a few warm-ups. So you're going to start by reaching for your shin. So just reach for your shin. Anytime you reach and come back, straighten out your spine, chest up, so that you can really fix that posture. And now we're going to try to reach for our toes. Reach for your toes for like a few, and then we're going to do the proper forward fold. So just grab your toes and bend forward, hold for a few seconds, and then come back to starting positions to straighten out your spine basically. Then reach for the middle of your feet and hold for a few seconds and come back to starting position, straighten your spine, go back to grab the center of your feet, okay, hold for a few seconds, then come back up, straighten your spine, and now we're going to reach for our heels. So hold that for a few seconds, come back up, straighten your spine, and then go back into that position, hold for a few seconds, come back up and straighten your spine, and we're done with that. Now we're going to strengthen and stretch out our hamstrings. If your hamstrings are really strong, your glutes are really strong, and they're doing what they need to do, that would reduce the pressure on your lower back. So get into this position that I just got into. Make sure that it's as wide as it can go. Come up to that seated position of where your spine is really straight, and then bend sideways, reaching for your ankles, and then come back to starting position, and then bend, and then come back to that position. So now rotate completely to that side and then bend over as much as you can. But before we do that, we're going to get a few warm-ups. Just warm up a bit, reach for your shin, come back, reach for your shin, and now bend forward, grab your toes and bend forward. I'm not very flexible. So this is basically stretching the side of your back. It's still the lower back, but the side. So we're going to repeat this movement on the other side. Okay, so it's just as if I want you to really open up as wide as you can. Okay, as wide as you can. Open up as wide as you can, and let's repeat that motion. So reach for your ankles, come back to starting position. Anytime you come back to that seated starting position, make sure that you straighten out your spine. Sit up, fix your posture basically, and then go back, reach for it. And now you're gonna rotate, and then let's do a few more warm-ups. Reach and come back. Reach and come back. Reach and come back. Your feet is flexed, okay? Flexed means your toes are pointed upward basically. Now bend over, grab your toes, and just hang in there for like a few seconds. Yeah, I've touched that area again. That area that I'm touching, or that I just touched, that's the area that you're stretching out, okay? That's good for you. So please bend over or fold over as much as you can. If you're really flexible, please do better than what I just did. So now we're gonna get into this seated position. Just cross your legs, cross it, keep it as flat as you can, and just hold for a second. Grab your knee and straighten out your spine. Exhale, grab your knee, inhale, straighten out your spine. Exhale, round, you can release. Grab your knee, straighten out your spine. Exhale, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale to release. back to starting position. Grab your knee, straighten out your spine, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale to release that position. And we're done with that movement. Now we're gonna go flat on the floor. I want you to lie down on the mat, basically. Lie down on the mat with your chest to the floor. Make sure that your feet is extended on the mat. Then drop your forearm on the mat. Make sure that the fist, make your palms into a fist and let the fist be beside your temple. And then lift up and then lower and then lift up. Make sure that your glutes are sucked in. Your abdominal muscles are sucked in as you do this movement so that it will target just your lower back. Now we're gonna progress into a chaturanga, a full chaturanga. So just put your palms beside your breast or your chest and just lift up, okay? Don't let your head sink into your shoulders. Square out your shoulders, okay? And just hold. Make sure that your glutes are still sucked in, your abs are still sucked in, and just do this movement. Repeat, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. When you lift, you hold for a few seconds and then you release by lowering down, basically. Then you come back up, hold for a few seconds, and then you go back down. Now we're going to move into a swimmer pose. So it's basically the same thing, only this time your legs are coming up, your entire legs are coming up, your entire upper body is coming up. The only thing that is left on the floor is your lower abs and your pelvis, like your hips, basically. Every other thing comes up the floor, off the floor. Tighten your abdominal muscles, like I said, tighten your glutes, like suck in your glutes, and do this movement so that the focus would be on strengthening your lower back. Anytime you come up, like I said, hold for a few seconds before you release. So now we're gonna progress into a down dog. So flex your feet and then get up into a tabletop position and just extend into a down dog. Yes. When you're doing the down dog, it's like pushing the floor away from you. Hold for a few seconds and then drop down. Extend your feet, then flex your feet again. Come back up into a down dog. If you can't transition straight into a down dog, you could come up into a tabletop before transition into a down dog like we did the first time around. So now we're going to go into a cat-cow. So come up into a tabletop position. Okay. Inhale, round your back. Exhale, arc your back. Okay. Inhale, your feet on the floor are extended. Okay. Anytime you inhale into this pose, make sure you can rock your hip from side to side. Rock your hip from side to side. You can also sit back instead of pushing forward. This movement, I want you to lean back a bit, rock side to side, and then exhale. Exhale. Make sure you're leaning backward because we want you leaning backward, not forward. Come. Inhale, round your back, lean backward. Lean backward as you round your back. Rock. If you want to rock side to side to get more of this stretch, go ahead and do that. Exhale, go back into your basically starting position. Now we're going to stretch out our hip flexors. Okay, so open up your feet really wide. I'm going to show you how wide it should be. So I'm going to do this in front just to show you how wide I want you to open it, and then I'm going to move over to the side to show you the movement. So open really wide and then lean forward like so. So let's go back to the side position so that I can show you what the movement should look like. So right now we're going to be stretching our inner thighs, we're going to be stretching our hip flexors, everything in that whole section, that inner area, we're stretching those out. So lean forward, drop your forearms on the floor, and then rock, and then come up to round your back, rock, come back. You see the way my feet is moving? Just look at the entire motion. That's the motion you should copy, okay? And then lean back into a child pose. So this is not like the conventional child pose, this is a child pose variation. Hold for a few seconds. Your feet is still as wide as you can open them. So when you lean back into this, please lean properly so that you can get that stretch in your hip flexors. Please, this whole motion, make sure that your knee is properly supported. You can put a towel or a cloth under your knee to really support this forward, backward, upward, downward kind of rotation that we did when we're doing that particular movement, basically. Now we're gonna perform another hip flexor stretch for so that we can really loosen up that area. Okay, so step forward and then let the back leg be all the way back. Your feet should be flexed, not extended. Make sure that the forward leg is in a 90-degree angle and that your knees are not going over your toes. So see the angle of the back leg. So lean forward. When you've gotten into this position, lean forward, lean forward, lean forward to get that stretch in your inner thighs. Okay, now we're going to transition into a hamstring stretch from here. Okay, so come back, extend, flex your forward feet and extend the back feet like so. The back feet extended, then sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back to get more of a stretch. Make sure that your back is rounded, because as we're stretching out your hamstring, we're also stretching out your lower back. Then come back into the position and just repeat the movement. Okay, hold that for a few seconds and then we're going to transition into a hamstring stretch. Extend the back feet, flex the front feet, and just round out your back and sit back into that. So you're stretching out that whole area from your hamstring, the entire curve from your hamstrings to your lower back, basically. And then you repeat. Okay, and then we're gonna transition into a hamstring stretch. So just repeat this movement a few times. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to the other leg, the opposite leg. It's just basically the same movement. Step forward, okay, and let the step really forward because we want the back leg to kind of extend and the front leg to be in a 90-degree angle. Flex the back feet for this. If you want to get a deeper stretch, open up, like see the way I'm pulling my knee, open that knee, press out that knee as you do this. So as you're pressing forward, you're pressing sideways, you're opening it up. If you want to get a deeper stretch, do that. Just pull that knee to the side even as you press forward into this hip flexor stretch, and you'll be able to get a deeper stretch in your hip flexors. Okay, now extend the back feet, flex the front feet, and sit back into your hamstring stretch. Okay, we're stretching out the entire curve, like I said, from your hamstrings to your lower back. And now we're going to repeat that movement. Flex the back feet, let the front feet is flat on the floor, and then do that. Please support your knee. If this movement is really tough on your knee, support your knee with a towel or a cloth. Make sure that your knees are protected. All right, and then now we're gonna extend the back feet, flex the front feet, and then sit back into that hamstring stretch. Okay, and then we're gonna repeat one last time. Okay, get that stretch, get that stretch, get that stretch. Lean back into your hamstring stretch. All right, now we're done with that. So now we're going to go into a child pose. Okay, we're going to start with our feet slightly open, not too wide. Okay, so get into that position. I'm going to move back here a bit so that I can have some space for that forward extension. So to get into this position, you have to first lie down as if you want to get into a chaturanga. Okay, then lift up and then lean back and push the floor away from your body as you sit back into that pose. Sit back, keep trying to sit back as much as you can. Don't worry, the more times you do this, the more your flexibility will improve. Okay, this would really give you a good stretch in your lower back. Okay, Now we're going to open our feet a little bit wider. It was like this before. Now we're going to open it wider a little bit, a little bit. Okay, so we're going to lie down again as if we're setting up for a chaturanga. So just lie down so your leg is actually wide open on the floor. So when you come up, bring your toes together, and then sit back. Push the floor away from you as you sit back. Ooh, this is a sweeter, deeper stretch. Sit back as much as you can. The more times you do this, the more flexible you get. I'm still not that very flexible, but the more I do, I'm not the yogi, but I'm trying. So we're gonna do this. It really doesn't, I mean, the more times you do this, the more even if you're not flexible and you're doing this, you will feel the stretch. Really, you feel the stretch. So you can release and then come back into that position. All right, and basically we're done. So please do this as many times as you want to or as you can. If you need to get a little bit more stretch, you can stay in the positions longer, okay, and that will give you more of a stretch. All right, thank you, bye.